the Storm Center 7 team to be the place that people turn to when they want to know anything about weather. We all know weather changes from hour to hour. There's that running joke, if you live in Ohio, wait 24 hours, the weather's going to change. If you have plans today, tomorrow, or the next day, you're already thinking about what the weather is going to be like.
The kids need to be ready.
I want to make sure that the team is providing that information, no matter when people are tuning in to watch our forecast.
For a viewing area.
Yeah, we are looking at that threat for those strong storms that may bring an isolated tornado or two to the Channel 7 viewing area. Along with that, heavy rain, damaging winds, and hail are also in the realm of possibilities. Looking outside right now in Richmond, Indiana, you really can't see very far from really your vantage point, no matter where you are, because of how heavy the rain is coming down in this part of Wayne County. Visibility down close to zero at this point in time. Now, that tornado watch includes most of our area with the exception of Mercer and Auglaize County because of the setup that we have in place. You'll see live Doppler 7 radar as we scan the skies, pretty active depending on where you are. Most of us have some rain and thunderstorms moving through. If not, you did just a short time ago. There is a strong thunderstorm that's now entering Union County and southern Wayne County right now with frequent cloud to ground lightning. Off to our south, a severe warning with a tornado warning as well, as this thunderstorm that's moving through northern Kentucky into southern Ohio did have indications of rotation. We still have more storms that are moving in because a warm front is pushing north through our viewing area, and very close by is this low pressure system that creates the circulation in the atmosphere and that possibility for an isolated tornado over the next few hours. I will time out on Futurecast how long we're going to be under the threat for severe weather and how long until this all will begin to move out.
All right,
When we looked out the window in the newsroom this afternoon, there was a deluge, and then not long after there was sunshine. And
Yeah.
James, like James said, that's not good because
No.
that's the turbulence in the atmosphere.
That's exactly right. We get some updrafts that are formed by the heat of the day. We have a warm front that's moving through, and that's creating some of the lift in the atmosphere. And then you get the sunshine that helps to warm us up. So it's this back and forth type of setup that we are in. And we'll see that this threat for severe weather is going to continue. And in fact, I believe we just got a severe thunderstorm warning issued, which I can see popping up right now. We have a tornado watch across the entire Miami Valley currently. The severe thunderstorm warning is for Union and Preble County as well as Butler County until 6 o'clock this evening. We're going to get on over to that as I look at live Doppler 7 radar. You can see the warm front that's moving in. That's, as I mentioned, what is supplying the threat for severe weather, and this low pressure creates that rotation in the atmosphere. That severe thunderstorm warning is associated with this cell right now that's moving through Union County right over Liberty and is moving into northern Butler and southern Preble County. In fact, I was just looking at this thunderstorm minutes before coming on air, and I expected that it was going to become severe because of the winds that I was seeing with this cell. I took a sample back here, which right now says 28 miles per hour, but it was just outside of Union County. It had a wind gust potential up over 70. The core of those strong winds right now are located where you see that deep blue shading. This is to the southwest of Liberty. This thunderstorm itself is moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So it's pretty slow moving, and it is expected probably to pass just south of Liberty as we move into the next 10 minutes. So it's going to take that long for this storm to get just south of Liberty, eventually over toward West College Corner at 5:39. And you can see it's 5:19 right now, so it's going to take about 20 minutes to get to that Indiana-Ohio border. If it continues to maintain strength, it may bring that damaging wind gust threat with it. When we look at it regionally, we can see that we have some more showers and thunderstorms that are off to our north and west and in Dark County near Greenville up into Salina as well. And then a strong cluster of thunderstorms just outside of the Miami Valley, and that also has a severe warning associated with it. Looks like we just got a brand new severe thunderstorm warning with that storm up in Greeneville. Robert, can you give me a timestamp on that? This thunderstorm also is likely moving at 30 miles per hour and headed toward potentially Troy and Sydney. What time is that? Goes until 5:45, this specific part of the thunderstorm just north of I-70. So the warm front came through and it really supplied that thunderstorm energy for us this afternoon. And you can see the moisture with that instability are dew points. These are dew points into the upper 60s to around 70 degrees. That creates more instability in the environment for these thunderstorms to work with. When we look at live Doppler 7, it's clear that we do have that threat for strong storms. Our severe weather outlook as we head into the rest of the afternoon and evening, damaging wind gusts are going to be the main concern for us. Hail, heavy rain as well, and then a couple of tornadoes are in the realm of possibility for us as we head into this evening, especially the further south you are, as that low pressure is going to track right over the Miami Valley in the next few hours. There is a low to moderate risk that we may see some power outages from these thunderstorms. I checked a few moments ago. We don't see much in the way of outages at this point, but of course we'll let you know if we do see them, not only here on Channel 7, but on WHIO.com. For tonight, we will watch those thunderstorms coming to an end, and then as we get into the day tomorrow, the sunshine is actually going to return for a little bit, and it's also going to be a little bit cooler with highs only into the low 70s. We look at that 7-day forecast for you. We will have that threat for some thunderstorms, perhaps with a few passing showers to return on Friday. No threat for severe weather there. And once we get past Friday, we have somewhat of a dry weekend before those temperatures rise heading into the middle of next week. Coming up at 5:30, I'm going to have another close look at those severe thunderstorm warnings that are active right now.
So we're going to get right to McCall because you're seeing something on your phone there that someone has sent in. And what is this?
So Ashley Hartman, she works with us and one of our other departments. She's driving near the Darke County, Preble County line, and she says, I just saw a tornado. So she sent me a video, and I don't know, Stuart, if you can zoom in here. And I went ahead and I went over to my radar, and I was able to see where there is going to be a little bit of a circulation. I'm going to go ahead and hit play on this once again. And you're going to see right in the, there we go, in the center of the screen here, that there is a funnel cloud that appears to be forming there. And what I'm going to do is there must be a tornado warning associated with this.
One just came in.
So I'm just going to go ahead and let's just take our graphics right now, and we're going to see where that rotation has occurred. And this is exactly where Ashley just sent me. She literally just called me on the phone. So thank you so much, Ashley, for that. This tornado warning is for this storm that is moving through Potsdam right now. I went ahead and I put the rotation and a velocity scan on moments ago, and you can see how this thunderstorm is wrapping up right near Potsdam. We have this counterclockwise flow with the center of the storm right over Potsdam at this point in time, and it looks to be moving to the east-northeast just south of Laura and over toward West Milton. These same areas are areas that were impacted by a tornado back in 2019 on Memorial Day. This storm, as I mentioned, is lifting to the east-northeast. It is just south of Pleasant Hill and will be passing north of West Milton. I'm going to go ahead and step off camera right now, and I'm going to pull up our radar and stop it from looping so that we can see it a little bit closer, and I can also have the possibility of checking to see if I have any debris associated with this storm whatsoever. All right, so first and foremost, let's recap. Right now we have a tornado warning that has been issued for Darke County, as well as Miami County and northern Montgomery County for a storm that is located just between Laura, Potsdam, and West Milton. We can see that there is some circulation associated with this storm. I go ahead and I put our rotation tracker on there, and there is a clear indication that it is occurring. I'll put our live Doppler 7 radar on so that you can see that this storm is going to be hard to see as to where the rotation is located, but when we go ahead and we put our velocity scans back on, we can see it is right there just south of Laura. If you are listening to the sound of my voice right now, what you need to do is get to the lowest interior part of a sturdy building. If you're in the areas of Ludlow Falls and West Milton, this is just to the west of you at this point in time. From what I can tell on Live Doppler 7, the main circulation of this storm is right around Laura and State Route 571, headed to the east at about 30 miles per hour. It's going to be crossing over 571, eventually over South State Route 48 near Ludlow Falls and West Milton. Now, this tornado warning will go until 6:15. I'm going to go ahead and put a storm tracker on this. This storm, again, moving only at about 30 miles per hour. So if it continues to maintain the strength that it has and its rotational signatures, it will be moving into Ludlow Falls at about 5:55. Right now it is 5:50. So you have less than 5 minutes to get into your safe spot. And that's going to be anywhere from your basement, an interior closet. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside. Make sure that you're not near any open windows. If you need to, go ahead, grab some blankets, some pillows, put them over your head, and get inside an interior room, as we now have a tornado warning that has been issued with a storm that is right around Laura, Potsdam, Ludlow Falls, and West Milton. Just got the latest update there on our velocity scans, and we can see that the rotation is still continuing. I'll flip over to our debris tracker. At this point, I don't see any debris indication, so it is just radar indicated at this point in time. I'll go back over to our velocity scan because that appears to be our best indication as to where the center of circulation is. You can see that bright green and the red, how close it is to each other. That is where we have that rotation right here, right in the center of your screen, as it's moving to the east near Ludlow Falls and West Milton. I know it sounds repetitive. If you are going to go into the inside of a interior part of your home or your apartment, tune over to 95.7 AM 1290. We are tracking this storm. Our audio is going out live. We are simulcasting at this point in time over on our radio, WHIO radio and K99 as well. I'm not sure if we have any updates at this point in time, but Robert's checking the weather service. We do not have any updates right now. Go ahead, James.
I just got off the phone with Sheriff Simpson in Preble County. I was making him aware of that. He doesn't have any reports of damage. Again, that's just a little bit of the south and a little bit of the west of where you're talking about as far as where you're seeing this rotation. If we could, Robert, if you wouldn't mind, or somebody in control room, pulling up the Troy camera, because as McCall is tracking this, it looks as though it's heading that direction. So I want to be kind of ahead of this if it makes it that far. McCall, I know you're looking at your phone right now.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we're talking about just minutes that people have now in that particular part of our viewing area to get to their safe space.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and try and get this video that I just received from a coworker, Ashley. She was headed west as she was heading home from today, and she saw that there was appeared to be a funnel cloud forming. She did follow up with a text message, says there was debris keeping up behind the barn. It was hard for her to get this video, but we could see that that funnel cloud was forming. So it's certainly an indication of what we're seeing on radar was actually developing into a possibility of a tornado.
We'll give you just a second so you can try to send that to our control room so we can get it turned around on television.
Okay.
Cheryl, you and I talked about this earlier this afternoon as far as the heavy rains. You know, we have dishes here where we can monitor various images on television. The dishes were out because it was raining so hard. And then you recognized, oh, the sun's back out.
Yeah, it was just pouring at 1 minute. You could hardly see out the window, couldn't see what was out there. And then the sun was out a few minutes later. And when I remarked, you said, yeah, I think, you know, that's trouble. And we know that. That's the volatility of this type of season where we have that, right, we warms up and then we have that turbulence in the air that McCall's talking about. Now, the entire area has been under a tornado watch, still is until 10 p.m., but this is an actual tornado warning.
This is a tornado warning with a storm with the potential of producing a tornado. We have not received confirmation from the National Weather Service that this has in fact touched the ground, but based on the video footage that we had, it certainly was creating a funnel cloud with this storm as it's traveling east. Right now is located right south of Ludlow Falls. At this point, it is out of Darke County and it is located in southwestern Miami County, just to the north of Montgomery County. So if you are in Arcanum, you are fine. If you are in Phillipsburg, you are fine. If you're in Potsdam, you are in the clear at this point for the most intense part of this storm. West Milton, this storm is right over you. It's right on top of Ludlow Falls. It is moving toward Nashville and eventually moving to the east. If it stays on its track, it will come anywhere between Troy and Tipp City, and we know those are very populated areas up in Miami County. So if you are watching us from Troy and Tipp City, go into your safe spot right now. You can stream us live on the WHIO News app. You can listen to us live on 95.7 FM, AM 1290 to continue to get these updates on this possibility of a tornado occurring. And this is all based on radar at this point in time. I'll go ahead and flip over onto our debris signature, and we'll see if there are any indications that debris has occurred. As I back this up in time, we can see there is a little bit of some bright shading, but that does not co-locate with where the rotation was. So that bright shading that's south of West Milton doesn't seem to match up with where our rotation is north of West Milton. We actually have this other tool which allows us to display 4 different panels, and it will help us to see if it is all located together. What were you saying, Robert?
In Montgomery now.
Okay, that makes sense. Based on where we see the rotation, the tornado warning has been canceled for Dark and Montgomery County, but it does continue for Miami County. So I'm going to go ahead and step in front of the screen, and I'll point out to you right where I see the most intense rotation. And I don't know if Stuart can pop me up on camera. I'm not sure if I'm up on camera or not. Okay, so right here, this is where we see that rotation. Red means winds are moving away from the radar. Green is toward. What happens is you get the radar beam as it's scanning the skies. It scans in the horizontal and the vertical at the same time. So it can see uniform particles in the atmosphere, and it can tell which way they are moving in the air. So if the raindrops are moving away, then we know that there is winds moving away. And if the drops are moving toward the radar, that's when it shows up green, and it can show us that there is this rotation here. So where we have this spot right between West Milton and Kessler, this is the most intense wind location. And then when we go over to our debris tracker, well, we're going to have to watch right here. As we can see, it looks as though debris is trying to be popping up on our radar. It's very close, but also at the same time, there isn't a lot in the way of the indication of our radar showing that that's in the same location. So it's not really mapping up on top of one another. So potential for a tornado there near Kessler and Nashville. Just to the east of West Milton, it looks like now if you're in Ludlow Falls in West Milton, you are likely in the clear as the most intense part of this storm is moving through, but wait just a few more minutes for this storm to pass by. We can see on our debris tracker that there may be hints of some debris there. We're going to have to keep an eye on that with the Weather Service. We also have Skywarn in-house. Our ham radio operators, they're relaying messages from other parts of the Miami Valley, in particular out in Miami County as well, as this storm is now starting to pull further to the east. Kessler, Nashville, you need to be in your safe spot, as well as out toward Tipp City and into Troy as well. Go ahead.
Warning. So I don't know if my mic's on, but
It
we
is.
have a new tornado warning. This is for Clinton, Greene, Montgomery, Warren County until 6:30 p.m. And severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado as well. And this is moving about 35 miles per hour.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to flip back over to radar here so that we can see where that new tornado warning is. And that is down here in southern Montgomery County, southern Greene County, as well as northern Warren County for this thunderstorm. Again, this goes until 6:30. That's exactly what Robert just mentioned. We'll go ahead and we'll flip our velocity scans on here. Looks as though this storm is also trying to wrap up a little bit as we have an inflow and an outflow with this storm. So right here, right south of Centerville, northeast of Springboro appears to be where the most intense rotation is being depicted on radar at this point in time. We go over here to radar and it's just a very thin line. It doesn't look like there's much happening there, but there's certainly some rotation. And this is based on our terminal radar up at the Dayton International Airport, and you can see clearer here on that radar that there is some rotation occurring there just south of Centerville. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning further back to the west, and then there's also this additional tornado warning that's still occurring up near Troy and Tipp City with this in particular tornado warning. I'm going to go ahead and flip back over to another version of our velocity. Do you have anything to add there, Robert?
No, these aren't confirmed yet, but they are looking at the potential for some funnels, but I'm waiting to get that confirmed here.
Okay. All right.
I just talked to someone up in Troy, and they work right along 75. They're home now. They're watching us, seeing what we're seeing as far as, you know, what our monitor's seeing outside of Troy and downtown Troy this afternoon. Didn't hear any sirens that way. I'm looking at a couple images, a couple live cameras in the southern part of our viewing area right there, Warren, Greene, and Montgomery. Don't see any rain there yet, but again, this camera is just about 4 miles to the east of where you've been referencing, McCall there, Clinton, Greene, Warren County, Centerville, Bellbrook, Spring Valley. Those folks in that area, you can see that box flashing. That is where folks need to pay close attention. You know, folks down that way, I mean, people are outside, and in parts of that area, I know in southern Centerville they have tornado sirens, but in other parts of the community just down the road they do not have any at all. So, you know, people living in that area, give them a call, warn them if they're not paying attention.
Heavily populated down that
Yes.
area too,
Yes.
so that's another reason that we have to be really careful in warning those people in that area.
Yeah, and we'll get in close here, and you can see where you have the red and green shaded. That is where the rotation of that thunderstorm is located in southern Montgomery County and northern Warren County. The most intense part of that storm is south of Centerville, and it is north of Ferry. You can see Bellbrook is just downstream from there, and then continuing off to the east to Spring Valley and Mount Holly. So you are all in a tornado warning right now. You also need to be in your safe spot. I'll head back to the north as we're still watching another tornado warning.
Yeah, the Weather Service says there's still
continues.
potential with that storm in Miami for a tornado warning. They've had some pictures in the last 20 minutes or so that have indicated that it's likely that the storm produced a tornado. As of this point, it's still in the air, but it looks like there's some evidence of perhaps a tornado that did occur.
Okay, what I'm going to have you do, Robert, is I want you to go ahead and take this video down and this information down to Skywarn to have them look at it and have them assess it, and then we'll see what they send along to the Weather Service to see if they can go ahead and confirm that it was in fact a tornado.
And what's so different when you're looking at Troy right now, how difficult it is. I mean, the visibility. And the thing is because it's raining so hard, you know, people might not be able to see a funnel or a tornado. Again, that tornado warning till like 6:15 in that part of our viewing area in Miami County.
You need to just take it seriously.
Yes.
Once you're under a tornado warning, while we say that their radar indicated, we just haven't had a visual confirmation that a tornado has occurred. So just take the precaution. You don't want to put yourself into any danger. As James just mentioned, you don't want to be outside trying to look through a shield of rain, and then within that rain-wrapped a tornado is occurring. So we are going to continue to track this tornado warning. Again, right now, the most intense part of this tornado warning is just to the southwest of Troy and northwest of Tipp City. We have yet to hear any confirmation of damage caused by what could potentially be a tornado. We told you just about 30 minutes ago, I would say, or maybe 20 minutes ago, I received a message from a coworker that was near the dark Preble County line, and she saw a funnel cloud, and she immediately called me and said, "Are you on air?"
We have that location too. I know it's moved past there, McCall. It was near West Milton, Foreman Road, and Red River West Grove Road.
Okay.
And what did our producer just
I think
say?
we have the video ready.
Okay, I went ahead and dropped it. It might
Okay,
be.
we're gonna take a
Oh, that's a
look.
different
Wow.
video. Look at that.
And this was by a coworker, so we know this is legit.
This wasn't
We know
her.
that
This
was
wasn't
not
hers that
it's
she
just someone
sent.
else's.
But that certainly looks as though it's all the way down to the ground at this point.
This is near West Milton, Foreman Road, and Red River West Grove Road.
Okay. Just got a message. Robert, go ahead. What did Skywarn say?
Just told me they had some evidence of some barn damage in Dark County a little while ago.
Okay. So that would probably be confirmation that the
Same
images
area.
that we've received.
Same
yes. Yes.
Okay,
Oh
so-
yeah.
the video.
Our Our
here we are.
coworker is there, and she has an image of the barn damage.
Okay, and you see this. This is video, McCall, of this tornado on the ground. You can see the debris field, obviously on either side of that tornado. That is very impressive. This person very close, and you can see buildings right there in the foreground. It's hard to give you perspective on where that tornado is on the ground versus those buildings.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, that is very impressive this afternoon.
Yeah. So we're going to continue to track these warnings, as we do still have a warning that's up south of Troy and near Tipp City right now. I don't know if we could barely see on our Troy camera that there could possibly be anything happening up in the Troy area. So I'm going to go ahead and try and zoom out on this image and see if we can see anything better, but it just looks so dark
It's
from the
blurred,
rain. You cannot
correct.
see anything happening from this vantage point. I'll see if I can pan it back over to Troy Public Square and see if there's any indication of a potential tornado on
Could
the
you put
way.
a quick track on that, McCall, and let those folks know, where they are,
Yes.
minutes-wise, to give folks a better indication?
Yeah, just south of Troy right now, near Cowellsville, between Tipp City and Troy, we have this potential tornado occurring. I'm going to flip over to our correlation coefficient or debris tracker. I don't see any significant debris on this tracker, but it does not mean that it's not occurring there. This storm is moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So I'm going to go ahead and put that track on for us from the center of this storm off to the east at 30 miles per hour. That's going to put this storm in Tipp City and at 6:12. That's 6 minutes from now. Casstown 6:18, Brown 6:23, New Carlisle 6:27, as well as Honey Creek Village Mobile Home Park. Christiansburg shortly thereafter, Brookwood Mobile Home Park, Northampton, and Donnellsville. So if this storm continues to maintain strength, which it has been as it's moved from Preble County and Darke County into Miami County, we will see an extension of this tornado warning into Champaign and Clark County. So we need to stay weather aware out in those western parts of the county. You're not under the warning yet, but at this point I do not see many indication that this storm is weakening. So we will be watching for an extension potentially with that storm. All right, we're going to head back down south, and we're going to look at this storm that's now down near Bellbrook and Sugar Creek. While there is still a tornado warning associated with it, it looks more linear to me. I don't necessarily see a very tight rotation like you see up with the Troy storm. This storm still has a tornado warning on it, so we're going to treat it as if it could potentially create a tornado. But I don't necessarily see the tight rotation that we did see earlier on. This was when the warning was issued, and you could see there was a little bit more tight rotation when this storm was passing south of Centerville, but since then it's really kind of spread out and weakened quite a bit. But still, in Spring Valley, make sure that you are taking the proper precautions. Did you have something, Robert?
Yeah, I just got a picture. I'm going to try to get it here in the system real quick, but a picture of a funnel near this was taken from Brookville looking towards West Milton. I'll have it up here in a minute.
Okay, excellent. So go ahead and do that for you. We're going to go back up to Tipp City, Troy, Casstown, and we still have indications of some tight rotation occurring with this storm. So again, Tipp City to Troy, you have this large scale rotation above you. Troy, you look to be far enough north that the tornado threat doesn't exist for you, but still some very strong winds. So stay where you are. Tipp City, this storm is just to your north. So if you live north of West Main Street, the most intense part of those winds are just to your north. This is going to be crossing over, I can't tell what state route that is, but it's just south of State Route 41 and north of West Main Street, headed toward Grayson, over toward Rudy Road. If you are familiar with Rudy Road, Tip Elizabeth Road, North 3rd Street, get it even a little bit closer here, East Walnut Grove, Gregson Road, Rudy Road. That continues over south all the way down to State Route 571. So in and around this area, that's the most intense part of this storm where a potential tornado is occurring at this point in time. And based on what we've seen, it looks as though a tornado did occur back at probably somewhere around Darke County, Preble County area where we do have some damage. I'm continuing to get some messages from Ashley. She's sending them to me, and I'm going to try and get these over to the newsroom at the same time that I'm talking with you, because there is likely this did create a tornado. Whether or not it's still on the ground, this storm is rather intense, and why we have a tornado warning that goes until 6:15. So we have about 5 minutes left on this warning. Well, they actually just extended it as expected until 6:45. That's exactly what we were anticipating to happen. So now if you're in southwestern Champaign and northwestern Clark County, the Weather Service does feel the same as I do, that this storm is maintaining its intensity and is moving to the east and will be moving out of Miami County and likely going to continue into Clark and Champaign County. And there is a new tornado warning that does now include Christiansburg, Northampton, even as far east as Tremont City, just north of New Carlisle, really just riding along your city limits. Willowick, you are in this polygon, as well as Alkany. You are under the gun potentially for a tornado to be moving in. The most intense part of this storm, Tipp City to Grayson, now headed to the east toward the county line. It's moving closer to your Miami County, Clark County, and Champaign County line. And there's very intense indications of rotation there. So go ahead and get into your safe spot. I will go ahead and give you the all clear if you're in West Milton, Ludlow Falls, Pleasant Hill, Troy. You are in the clear at this point. The storm is far enough to your east that you can go ahead and come out of your safe spot. Thank you for doing what we suggest and getting into a safe spot away from any exterior walls, windows, as debris certainly could fly in through those windows. We've seen time and time again that you get a piece of wood and it can pierce right through that outside wall. So you want to get away from those outside exterior walls. And I'm going to give that same instruction now to people that live near Northampton, north of New Carlisle, the same for Christiansburg, over toward Casstown as this storm continues to move to the east. We still do have a tornado warning down to the south. I don't want to forget about you guys in southern Greene County, which includes Bellbrook, Spring Valley. And I'm going to flip over to this different velocity scan because this seems to be giving us a better indication of where that possible rotation is. This warning goes until 6:30 for us tonight, including Bellbrook, Spring Valley. This may or may not be canceled early, but for this time being, I would say just continue to stay in your safe spot as there is still a warning overhead. The most intense storm that we are watching is the one that's up just to the north of Tipp City, and there is some very tight rotation that is now being indicated just to the southwest of Grayson. I'm going to go ahead and flip over on our debris tracker to see if there are any indications of debris. Nothing there that I can clearly see, but we are, wait, hold on, let me go ahead and, I think I might have been on the wrong radar there. We're going to go flip here.
All right, I'm good.
And over. Okay, so it looks as though there's a debris signature there near Grayson. So I believe that we may have, in fact, a tornado that touched down somewhere near Cowlsville and is near Grayson, as we are getting an indication of debris now showing up on our radar. And I'm going to put the 4-panel on because this will give you an idea of what exactly I'm saying. So there's Grayson, and right overhead, I'm going to go over to the map, over to the wall. Thank you, Stuart.
And people are telling me they're hearing tornado sirens in Piqua and in Kettering too, and that's probably because of the one in Greene County.
Yes, the one in Greene County is probably the one that Kettering is hearing. This tornado warning up near Piqua, that's why they're hearing the siren. Right over Grayson, you can see that this green to blue dot that's showing up on radar, well, that's an indication of debris. And the reason that I know that is because when we come over here, right where Grayson is, now we can see that you have that tight couplet that we call that tight rotation right over Grayson, and it's the same location that we are seeing some debris being shown up on radar. So that tells me that likely there is a tornado on the ground, and I would not be surprised if we start to see some video confirmation and damage from a result of that possible tornado, likely tornado on the ground. There is Grayson. You can see that the radar itself is pretty much a big blob of red. So as we stated not too long ago, what you need to do is just stay inside. Don't try to go out and see this storm, is because it's going to be so rain wrapped that you're not going to see it, and it's going to become very difficult for you to know that that tornado is right on top of you. Now this storm is moving to the east at about 30 miles an hour, so out near Alkeny, you can expect that possibility of a tornado moving in, as we're still seeing a distinct couplet on radar showing those tight wrapped up winds. I don't know if Robert, I see you're working on perhaps some photos over there.
Yeah, it was a photo sent in from via Twitter from Kristen Dean. This is 2 photos from earlier in Brookville looking toward Phillipsburg and West Milton. These are 2 images of a funnel cloud. The one on the right's a few minutes later, but so these images are a little bit old, but these are just more images of the funnel cloud that we've seen across the region. Weather Service also has indicated too, like you mentioned near Grayson, that they're still continuing to see evidence of a tornado occurring very close to Grayson, heading east-northeast toward Haven View in Miami County.
Guys, just a little bit to the south and west of that, getting reports, the Meijer Distribution Center up in Tipp City, damage on Kessler, Cowellsville, and Peters roads. So again, that was in the direction in which it was headed a short time ago, McCall, and now you're saying where you're seeing that debris field in Grayson. So again, the distribution center is on the west side of 75, and then crossed over, and then into the area that you've been paying a lot of attention to now.
Weather Service also saying that they're getting some photos sent in on social media and a video posted of a tornado near Phillipsburg, Ohio. So we're really focusing on the Phillipsburg and then also these Grayson areas too.
Yeah, Phillipsburg was back near West Milton, just south of Ludlow Falls, when we first got this tornado warning, and that was also right when our coworker Ashley sent us a message, literally called me on the telephone. So I'm very grateful that she did that and gave us the heads up that, hey, this is happening right now, and we continue to track this tornado warning with a storm that we have seen video, photo footage of this tornado occurring. We do see debris signatures still on radar right now, just to the east of Grayson. By the way, we have our new Center 7 reporters out and about in the Miami Valley. I'm sure our producers have them headed to some of these locations to check out some of the damage. I don't know if you guys have any update on where maybe our reporters would be headed, but we will be sending them to some of these damaged areas, and we're going to have an update from them as soon as we can, if not at 11 o'clock tonight.
If our producer and director, Stuart, if you guys could show us, or at least somebody in our ear, show us where Storm Tracker 7 is. I see they're sitting at a stoplight right there. Are they close to Tipp City? Help us out if you could, please.
No.
Okay.
Okay, we're sending Molly Kowick to the damage reports near Phillipsburg that Robert was just talking about. And, I keep getting messages from family members. My brother in Miamisburg, they're hearing tornado sirens. And he said a T warning, but I don't know if he means tornado or thunderstorms there.
Probably
thunderstorms, because it's already...
Where is he located?
He's in Miamisburg.
Miamisburg, yeah, that's probably just, right now there's no thunderstorm warnings around there, but perhaps getting the sirens and associating that with the tornado warning.
Yeah.
North Huber Heights, folks, somebody just messaged me hearing sirens going off there as well, a little bit south of where you've been focusing on a little bit, Nicole.
Northern Huber Heights is close to
It's not,
Miami
yeah,
County.
it is not far when you look at it distance-wise, and I have a distance school here, Huber Heights to where the center of this storm is only 10 miles to the north, so it makes very good sense that they're hearing a tornado siren off in the distance, or at least one has been triggered. But you are far enough away, if you live in Huber Heights and you're hearing the sirens right now, this storm is not near you. The threat for a tornado is not near you. That is well to your north, but the threat does exist for areas that are right around Grayson, just to the east, and you can see very tight rotation there. And by the way, in the center of your screen, I'm going to go ahead and circle this for you. This is the radar site, and then you can see right here is where that rotation is occurring. So it is so close to the radar site that it is seeing it pretty clearly right now that this is occurring, and it is potentially producing a tornado. I would say that it's likely that it is producing a tornado based on the fact that we have seen debris popping up on our debris scanner in the Miami Valley. So we're going to go ahead and flip back over to velocity, still keeping its intensity. I'm going to back this up here, and just so you know, for a vantage point, this is just going to be a 15-minute loop. And in 15 minutes, this storm has traveled from east of West Milton to now just south of Christiansburg. And in that last few frames, I'm going to play this because it's interesting. It looks as though it's starting to take a little bit of a southern jog. So while it was moving a little bit east at first, it may be starting to turn a little bit to the right. So Northampton, this storm is headed right toward you. This storm is not too far from you. We go ahead and we put the distance tool on for you. And Northampton, this storm is roughly 4 miles away. Dodo, you are under the gun at this point. Hampton Woods, 5 miles from you. This storm is south of Alkeny now. And if it continues on, it's going to be moving toward Lawrenceville and just near the Ballantine Acres and Jacksonville as well. I'm going to go ahead and put a storm tracker on this. Once again, these storms, for the most part, Robert, are they moving at 30 miles per hour? Because I believe that's what most of these storms have been moving at.
The last time I saw was, about 35 miles per hour.
Okay.
Let me see if that's been updated at all.
I'm going to put an estimate at about 30
About
miles.
35.
35?
Yeah.
All right, 35 miles an hour. So at this rate, these areas that are in this cone, Honey Creek Village Mobile Home Park at 623, at 620 right now. You need to be inside a sturdy structure. It's not advised to be inside of a mobile home.
But you got to get inside somewhere.
You got to get inside somewhere
interior,
at this point.
interior.
I wouldn't be rushing to try and find a place unless you know that there's a place literally right next door. But stay where you are. Northampton, 629. That's less than 10 minutes. Lawrenceville, 635. Rolling Terrace Mobile Home Park. This is headed right in your direction. Tremont City, 639. Springfield, 642. Urbana, 650. Now, you guys are on the fringe of this cone. I would say really just the areas that are directly due east are going to be in the most concerning location. And in fact, it looks as though this is wrapping up even more than it did before. So I'm going to circle the areas that are in the most intense area for the possibility of this storm to move in right now. Northampton, Hampton Woods. Dodo, you need to be in your basement at this point. If you don't have a basement, an interior closet, if you have a bathroom that's interior, get inside the bathtub, grab the pillows, grab the blankets, put them over your head, and stay there until I give you the all clear. Lawrenceville, Ballantine Acres, Eagle City, over to Northridge. You are all in that realm of possibility for this tornado to move in. And Northridge, you aren't even in this tornado warning right now. You are just outside of this tornado warning. So this is likely going to be extended. This tornado warning goes until 6:45. It's 6:22. This storm does continue to gain and contain strength. So it is very likely that this tornado warning will be extended. I'm trying to see if we have any debris showing up on radar. I don't at this point in time see that. Does not necessarily mean that it's not occurring. We just don't see it yet on radar. Still, there is a tornado warning in southern Greene County. Not any indication of rotation like we are seeing to the north, but I do want to let you know that that warning is still there until 6:30. So we have about 8 more minutes just south of Xenia, near Union Road, Henryville Road, Winchester Road, Silver Springs. You're just outside of that warning, but I do not see the rotation like we had with the thunderstorm earlier on. I'm going to get back up here into the northern Miami Valley. Right now in northwestern Clark County, right over Northampton, south of Christiansburg. This is where a possibility of a tornado is occurring. All right, I'm going to give the all clear now to Christiansburg. You're all clear. Willowick, you're all clear. Alkeny, all clear. Grayson, all clear. If you did have damage in your location, especially if you live in the Grayson area, be careful when you head outside. But if you have a moment to snap a photo, if there was any damage nearby,
go ahead and snap that photo and send it in to us, so that way we can relay it on to the National Weather Service, and they may come out and do a survey at some point in time, likely not tonight, but probably some point tomorrow, if you had damage where you are. And if we get a good collection of damage reports, we will be able to let the National Weather Service know about this information. But if you're in Dodo right now, that is not your main concern. That is not your primary concern. Your primary concern is to get into your basement, get away from windows, get away from those exterior walls, and find a safe place to be. Northampton, the same for you is said. Hampton Woods, safe place now. Troy Road, just to the north, should I say the south of Troy Road and State Route 235. That is the intersection where this rotation is occurring, and it is moving to the east at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Liberty Road, over toward Ulrey Road, toward Northampton Road. These are the next streets that are going to be right where that tornado is located. We continue to the east. It will eventually move toward Lawrenceville and Valentine Acres near Cedar Hills as well. All right, we just got the latest update. The rotation now is showing an indication that it is moving closer into Northampton as well as Hampton Woods. This is south of Troy Road. If you live north of Troy Road, if you're up near Dialton, Thackeray, Darnell, you are in the tornado warning, but you are not in the threat of the tornado. Now, that said, this storm is producing some very heavy rain and possibly some hail on the north side. So let me go ahead and click on the hail. Doesn't show it necessarily, but there is very heavy rain for sure that's happening. A lot of times when we have this type of setup on the north side, the northern flank of the storm is where we have blinding rain and the possibility of hail developing. So that's what we're watching out for with this storm as it's moving to the east. All right, the Weather Service has gone ahead and shaved back the backside of that tornado warning. So anybody that lives in Miami County, you are in the clear. This tornado warning is now just in southern Champaign County and northwestern Clark County, with the tornado potential likely in Clark County near Northampton. James?
I want to, Stuart, if you wouldn't mind, I've got a quick 7-8 second piece of video here sent by one of our viewers. This is right along 75. And again, it shows a tornado. This is right across the highway from Dave Arbogast up there in the southern part of Troy. So, you know, we'll kind of do this old school. If you can do it, Stuart, it's quick, but it shows the rotation and it shows it on the ground. There's a tree line. And again, if you watch right here, so you see it on the other side of that sign.
Right.
And then you see as quickly as it's there. Let me back it up again. As quickly as it's there, and then it's gone. But again, that's going to be on the western side of 75. But it shows you just how quickly these things are popping up, and they can be on the ground for a few moments, and then they can be gone.
Yep, but enough to cause some damage.
Southern part of Miami County, just south of Troy.
And some of these areas have a lot of neighborhoods. As we can see, there's plenty of streets here, especially near Hampton Woods and Northampton. There are a lot of streets, so we know that there's neighborhoods there. And this is going to be causing some damage. These aren't rural areas where it's just farmland. Back in Darke County and in Preble County, there is less development of homes. Doesn't mean that it's not a damaging type of situation, but now that we're tracking this storm that came right through Miami County and now into northwestern Clark County, that's problematic for more and more people. So you need to heed the warning, at least just take it and be safe, and go ahead and find yourself inside an interior part of a sturdy structure, as these storms are not necessarily weakening as they're coming through. All right, we're going to zoom out a little bit here. We're going to do a recap as to what's happening in the Miami Valley. You can see on live Doppler 7 radar, we have 2 tornado warnings. One is located in southern Greene County until 6:30. It's 6:28. I anticipate that the Weather Service is going to go ahead and drop that warning once we get to 6:38. There is a second tornado warning. This one has been an extension. We've followed this storm since Preble County, when we got a live report from one of our WHIO News Center 7 co-workers, and she sent me video of a tornado. She actually saw some barn damage, and she sent me some photos of that as well to help confirm that it in fact did touch the ground. Shortly after that phone call, we received a tornado warning, and we've tracked this storm ever since. Now this tornado possibility is occurring in northern Clark County, where we still have a tornado warning. It's 6:28 right now, and this warning goes until 6:45, so we still have 15 minutes left. It's hard to tell exactly where this tornado is happening when you're looking just at radar, but when we flip over to velocity, you can clearly see where that rotation is, and it's right between Hampton Woods, and Northampton as the storm is traveling to the east at about 35 miles per hour. So Lawrenceville, Ballantine Acres, you are in the path of this storm. This storm continues shifting to the east. Now we just got the latest scan there. And Dodo, you are in the clear. Dialton, you're in the clear. But this storm is traveling pretty much right along Troy Road at about 35 miles per hour. It's coming up on Lawrenceville. It's coming up on Miller Creek. I'll get in closer here to some other roads. Shrine Road, if you're familiar with that, and this part of Clark County. Over toward Westridge, Ballantine Pike. You can see Shrine Road, Mobile Home Park. You're very close to where the center of this storm is, so you need to be in your safe spot at this point in time. Cedar Hills, you are also in this polygon. This storm is still to your northwest, so you need to be in your safe spot, and you need to stay there until the all clear is given. If you live in Windy Acres, this storm is right over you, and you should already be in your safe spot at this moment, and wait until we give you the all clear. Tremont City, you're also in this polygon. North of this circulation, Thackeray, Darnell, you're fine. The tornado potential is to your south, but it is raining pretty heavily where you're at. I'm going to go ahead and rewind this 15 minutes to see the evolution of this storm. Looks as though it may be spreading out a little bit. As 15 minutes ago, we were seeing a much tighter circulation. Now it seems to be spreading out a little bit, but still there is some weak rotation with this storm. I'll be interested to see if the Weather Service extends this warning further to the east. Right now it does continue until 6:45, but it may move out of this polygon before then. We still have about 15 minutes for this storm. I'll go ahead and put a track on it for us. And it's moving again at 30 to 35 miles per hour. So at this rate, it will be moving into Chateau Estates Mobile Home Park right now. Lawrenceville at 6:36. That's less than 5 minutes from now, just about 5 minutes. Tremont City at 6:40. That's less than 10 minutes for you. Springfield, 6:44. Bon Air Mobile Home Park, you are in the storm track at 6:47. You may see this storm moving in. Harmony, 6:53. Brookside Park Mobile Home Park, 6:54. Catawba, 7 p.m. So again, if this storm holds together, it will be moving into those neighborhoods and those towns within that time frame. Right now, under the gun is Chateau Estates Mobile Home Park, Lawrenceville, Rolling Terrace Mobile Home Park. You are now right within the path, within minutes, if not it's overhead right now. And it looks as though the Weather Service has gone ahead and extended this warning. Interestingly enough, but maybe not so interesting, is that they did make the polygon. It does not include Champaign County. So that is showing what I was seeing, that there is a little bit of a right turn jog to this storm. It's going a little bit further to the south and east rather than just due east. James?
We do have some damage to the Meijer Distribution Center. We've got a picture of it from Tipp City. Taking a look at it now, this, James, you say this is on the northwest side of the building, and this is right along 75.
Correct, just on the west side of 75, just a little south of Tipp. And again, that is a big building, and look at the damage. Wow. I mean, that stretches the length of that building on the northwest side. And
there
you
were
see
cars, people at work.
People inside. That is always a monumental concern. We do have Mike Campbell headed that way, according to our producer in the booth. But
we don't have any reports of injuries, do we, Josh, or anything like that? This was mainly damage that we're hearing right now at the Meijer Distribution Center. Talking to the producer.
Hello, Josh.
We don't have any reports of injuries or anything like that, do we, Josh? Okay, nothing we've heard of yet.
You know, grateful for our viewers who keep sending us a video of various aspects of tornadoes. Somebody sent me a piece of video from Tipp City by the YMCA. There, Cheryl and I could see a debris field. This other one here is from Kessler and Cowlersville in Troy. Going through a farm field, thankfully, but such a defined tornado.
Yeah, there's some very impressive looking tornadoes in our area that we've been getting videos of. Can you see that one, Stuart?
I don't know if you can see that, Stuart, but I'll go ahead and let you zoom in. But again, this is somebody driving by, and it's in a farm field. Unfortunately, let me move my stuff here. But again, that's in a farm field, and this person is driving the opposite direction. I'll go ahead and let you zoom in, but again, this is somebody driving by, and it's in a farm field. Unfortunately, let me move my stuff here. But again, that's in a farm field, and this person is driving the opposite direction. But nevertheless, I always say to myself, when could you imagine being right next to that?
Is this the one, James, that you were looking at and you said you could actually see the debris?
No, let me share that one. That's in the Tipp City area. So let me try to pull that one up, and you can see a debris field. It might be a little more difficult for us to show, but let me. And again, I can't say it enough how grateful I am for folks who are sending these pictures and these videos to us as we are live on television. Let me see here. Here it is. So again, here, Stuart, if you could zoom in, it's kind of tough to see. Yeah, it's easier to see. It's kind of right there in the middle, and then you see that line of trees, not nearly as defined, but Cheryl and I, when we're looking at this on my phone, you can see a debris field as it kind of follows it on the other side of that building, so that's not nearly as impressive. But nevertheless, a debris field, and we could see that. Again, this is in the area of Irwin car dealership in Miami County, near the Miami County YMCA.
Yeah.
I'm continuing to get damage photos that are being texted to me. I did have some footage up in the Troy area from one of my neighbors. Her brother-in-law saw this tornado happening. I can clearly see that there's debris. I'm not going to make you pull it up for us, Stuart, but this is happening. It has caused some damage. We do see that this rotation has begun to wrap right back up. You can see south of Lawrenceville near Ballantine Acres. Unfortunately, this is a location that we know that there is some mobile home parks nearby. So we are going to watch out to see if any severe damage happens with a possibility of a tornado occurring there. I don't see anything popping up on our debris tracker at this point in time, but based on that velocity scan, that looks like a clear, tight couplet where a tornado would be occurring. Now, there is this tornado warning that's for northern Clark County until 7:15 this evening. So this is just north of downtown Springfield. Springfield, you are in this polygon. So heads up to you, this storm is just to your north and west. If you live in Harmony, you can expect that this tornado warning potential is going to be moving into your area as well. I'm going to get in very close here. Eagle City, this storm is just to your west. Get into your safe spot now. Jacksonville, get to your safe spot now. I gave you a heads up earlier this evening that this storm was headed your way about 20 to 25 minutes ago. So you should be in your safe spot. This storm is right overhead. This is moving to the east near St. Paris Pike, Ridgewoods, Shawnwoods, Oakwood Village. There are a lot of homes here that I can see on Live Doppler 7. There is a good amount of neighborhoods that are located in this area. Forest Hill, Snyder Mills, Victoria Villa, Snyder Terrace, I already mentioned that, North Hill, north of Springfield. This is very close to downtown Springfield. This is a highly populated area. And I know that we had a crew that was out that way earlier. I don't know if they're still there. I believe that it was Mike Campbell might have been out in the Springfield area.
Yeah, that was earlier today. Mike Campbell is heading toward Tipp City.
Okay.
And the Meyer. And again, Cheryl and I are looking at a closer image of that. I mean,
There's a lot of
it is
destruction.
a lot of
to
damage.
that
A lot of
building.
destruction. And
Yeah.
based on the tornado that we saw in that video, that does not surprise me. And the only reason I was just bringing up where Mike Campbell is because I just always want to make sure that our crews are in a safe spot. I don't know if we necessarily have any crews that are in that area, but of course they need to
just gives you the-
stay. Oh yeah, the damage that
And
it-
this, that it's only been there a couple of years. That is a fairly new facility.
But you see the length of that building.
Yeah.
And you see kind of where the wall was and how much that wall has been pushed in. I mean, the damage. And what's concerning is, and we're going to continue to work this, folks, is there are cars in this parking lot.
Yeah, so there's people
Concerns the people in
working
there.
inside. Hopefully they have a tornado shelter and that they were given a message. I know that we had that Amazon facility that was hit by a tornado a couple months ago to our south, I believe in Arkansas, maybe. We want to make sure that,
Another one
the
in St.
employees
Louis.
were okay. Yeah, so
Yeah, so so we are efforting Mike Campbell to get to Tipp City. He was in the eastern part of our viewing area. But back to your biggest concern here,
my
McCall.
biggest concern is the amount of people that live near Jacksonville, Eagle City, over toward Ridgewood, down as far south as downtown Springfield, Kingsgate Commons, Northridge, Ridgewood. You are all very much in the path of this tornado, which is likely occurring just based on what I'm seeing on radar. If it's not touching down now, there is a high likelihood that it will be occurring. And it's getting even tighter there. We can see some very bright blues. And when we have what we call gate-to-gate shear, where you have a red block or a bright blue block right next to a red block, that is a gate-to-gate shear, and that's an indication as to how tight that rotation is. So we can see gate-to-gate shear 54 miles per hour in one direction, 28 in the other direction. So that's going to give us a possibility of a wind speed between 75 to 85 miles per hour right there at the center of this storm. So this is very intense at this point in time, right near Happy Valley Mobile Home Park. This is unfortunate that this is occurring right over a mobile home park, Rose Garden Mobile Home Park, as this storm is now traveling to the east near US 68. If you are on US 68 north of Eagle City, stay there. If you are on US 68 south of Snyder's Mill, stay there. Do not drive north or south. US 68 is a very highly traveled road in this part of Clark County. I used to live in this part of Clark County myself, so I know how much traffic, especially this time of day. It's 6:40 in the evening. We are not too far past that evening drive time. So if you are listening on 95.7 FM, AM 1290, and you are north of Eagle City, do not travel south on 68. If you are south of Snyder's Mill, do not travel north on 68. Stay where you are. It looks as though there is a tornado that is likely occurring and is going to cross right over 68 in just a few minutes, and it is going to be working toward Ridgewood, Eastview Heights, Oakwood Village. And you can see this body of water over to the east. I believe that is Buck Creek State Park, and that is exactly where this storm is headed. So a lot of us that may not be familiar with Clark County, we probably know where Buck Creek is located, and it can give you a point of reference as to where this tornado may potentially be occurring, and it's moving through a very highly populated area. So we need to stay in our places of safety, whether that is in a basement, whether that is in a closet. Put as many walls between you and the outside. Maybe it's a bathroom, get into the bathtub, put a pillow over your head. Bike helmets, it may sound silly, but in this situation, it's not silly. You want to protect that head. You put the kids in the bathtub, cover them up, do whatever you can to make sure that you're staying safe. I know that this may be a scary situation for you if you're living in the Springfield area, but know that we are watching over you, and we are going to make sure that we walk you through this as we continue through the next 10 to 15 minutes. We know that this rotation is very tight. It's between Eagle City, Snyder Terrace, headed to the east near Oakwood Village, Eastview Heights, and Miracle Mile.
Clark County Sheriff's Office, according to scanners, seeing rotation Shrine Road, Miller Road, which is there in Clark County, so right in that same area that you're referencing currently.
That makes sense. Sean Woods, Walnut Hills, Green Lawn Village, Eastwood Farms. This storm is right over you. I'm going to go ahead and flip over to our debris tracker. Unfortunately, I am seeing debris now showing up on radar. I'm going to go ahead and back this up just a little bit so I can see when it first developed just to the east of Valentine Acres. I'm going to zoom in there and see what was near that, right over the mobile home park. Very sad and unfortunate there. The debris tracker continues on to the east here, and we can see as it's going over US 68 near Walnut Hills, and then continuing on as we look at radar. So we are now watching the center of circulation over near Oakwood Village, Glencoe Estates, Eastview Heights. This storm is now moving across Mechanicsburg Road. This is just south or near the intersection of State Route 334. This storm now near East Home Road and Croft Road. This is very close to where I lived not more than 7 years ago. I know how many condominiums that are there. I know that there's the Walmart is over in that direction. I know that we have a Kroger nearby. There's a lot of intersections that are in this part of Clark County that is a place where people go to, especially this time of day.
Tornado reported on the ground, Tremont City near Eagle City Road. This is according to the Sheriff's Office in Clark County.
Okay, so you heard that straight from James. Eagle City Road in Clark County. If you are in Clark County and you know and you are familiar with that area, there's a confirmed tornado on the ground. This is a very highly populated area. You need to be in your safe place at this point. This is turning into a very dangerous situation, a potentially deadly situation. We do not take these things lightly, and why we continue to do coverage and track a possibility of a destructive tornado on air live. This is life-saving information. While the rest of us may not necessarily be dealing with a tornado warning at this point in time, our main focus is keeping the people in Clark County safe. This storm has traveled counties. It has traveled from Preble and Darke County into Miami County and now into Clark County. We've had confirmation of a tornado with this storm. When it began in Preble County, damage that was located in Miami County, and now confirmation that it's still developing a tornado in Clark County. I did hear a message there on the Weather Service. Do you know what that said?
Yeah, it's issued a tornado warning for Champaign, Logan, Madison, and Union. So it's moving off further toward the east, and that's until 7:15.
Okay, so they have gone ahead and extended the warning. The main concern with this tornado potentially occurring, and based on what James was telling us, it was at least occurring moments ago near Oakwood Village and Eastview Heights, crossing over Mechanicsburg Road and headed to the east just north of Croft Road or near Croft Road. So if you live there, this storm is moving right overhead. It is going to be passing right over Buck Creek State Park. So I can see just there in the center of the screen, you may notice the outline that I'm moving the cursor around. That's the state park. So it's moving out of this very highly populated area where I actually lived several years ago over near Durr Road. And Northridge High School, I believe, is not too far to the north of that. It looks as though it may have passed just to the south of the high school as this storm is moving to the east, and it's going to be crossing over Buck Creek State Park. So we may get a little break there of it not hitting communities, and then it's going to be moving to the east, which is going to be transitioning into more of a rural area. So if you live in the farmland east of Buck Creek, this possibility of a tornado is headed that way.
If we could, guys, could we take a double box? I know we have a car that's upside down, but I don't want to take away from what we're doing tracking this tornado right now. What's most important is that McCall is warning these people where this tornado is. So if we can see the truck, that'd be great.
Yeah, Molly's pointing to it there.
But again, and I want you to continue, McCall.
Yeah, what I'm going to continue with, Robert, thank you for drawing that to my attention, as we have a new tornado warning. I was under the assumption that this was the same tornado warning, but there's a new tornado warning that's been issued up in Champaign County. And this is with a storm that is located near Kings Creek. As we can see, some rotation there with that storm. As this storm is traveling to the east, also at about 35 miles per hour. So I'll go ahead and put a track on that storm as well. And we will go ahead and see where this storm is headed. It's moving also at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. So that's going to put it in Woodstock at about 7:02 and North Lewisburg at 7 p.m. Now this part of Champaign County is a little bit more rural, but if you know you live near Bowers Road, if you live near Gray Road, this storm is right near you, near the intersection of State Route 296 and let me get in closer, near North Ludlow Road. So North Ludlow Road, Flatfoot Road, State Route 296. This is the area where that tornado warning and the possibility of a tornado is occurring right now. All right, I'm going to take you back south here, and we're going to look at that other tornado warning that we've been tracking, which is in Clark County, which right now it looks like the center of circulation is right over Buck Creek State Park and right over the waters in and of itself. So if you are near Eastview Heights, if you are near Glencoe Estates, if you are in Northridge, Kingsgate Commons, Oakwood Village, Miracle Mile, Croft Road near Oak Crest, this storm is now pulling off to your east. So give it about 5 more minutes and then you can come up out of your safe spot.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Guys in control room, if you could switch our live shot to the Meyer facility in Tipp City. McCall, please continue. We have Mike Campbell there, but again, we're going to let Mike get his thoughts together, and then we will talk with him. But again, this is on the lower left. That's the Meyer facility. If our photographer can hear me, I know I just saw a tight shot of just the damage there. In that on the side of that facility where that truck was, that was just outside Phillipsburg on State Route 49, to give you perspective what we were just saying a few minutes ago.
There's
but again,
the damage.
There is the damage to the Meijer Distribution Center, which is just on the west side of 75 and Tipp, and you can see that is a massive building, Cheryl. And look at the damage to what seems to be the entire side of what I was told by one of our viewers, the northwest side of that building.
And we know there were probably people working inside at the time. Hopefully, as McCall said, they got to their safe spot, got to a safe interior spot inside that big facility there. But there's a lot of damage to the northwest corner of that Meijer Distribution Center.
And according to Skywarn, too, there's allegedly about 300 feet of debris behind what we're looking at right now. So there's a lot of damage with this storm, and it's the same storm that we've been following as it's tracked east across the Miami Valley. And so we're still seeing evidence of rotation around this storm. You can see the radar there on your screen, that red next to that green. That's still the circulation we're looking at it as it pushes to the east. So we've had several reports of damage, including that there in the Meyer facility, and then also just the barn damage we've been talking about too. We've had trampolines on the highways as well. So it's still a very, the situation is still ongoing as it's starting to edge out of the viewing area, but we do still have the tornado warning in effect for Clark County. That's until 7:15. It looks like the circulation around that is now toward the northeast of Clark County, still pushing closer toward just over that state park, as McCall was mentioning earlier, and it's continuing to push toward the east. It looks like the rotation, as indicated here by the radar, will be moving just to the north of Lakeview Acres. So again, if you're still in this part of Clark County, the northeastern part of Clark County, especially if you're east and northeast of Springfield, you still need to be in your shelter at this moment, because we are still looking at pretty strong signature of rotation here at the moment with this cell. And then not to mention too, we've had the cell up toward the north in northeastern Champaign County, which is still on kind of the northeastern edge of the viewing area.
I'll let you take a look at that real quick,
circulation.
Robert.
Yeah.
As we zoom in, folks, you can see that is a large building. We just saw a fire truck pull up. It was a ladder truck. I saw, as Robert was talking, it kind of swung around in that parking lot, and then it went camera right. And I don't know if it's still there. It was by those cars. There's the fire truck right there. So again, emergency crews just on scene here with that ladder truck. We do not know. Thank you, Stuart, for taking the shot full. We do not know what they're there for, but obviously a ladder truck will allow them to get up on top of that building or near the top of the building and be able to look down inside. We don't know if that's going to happen. Mike Campbell is on scene. Mike, if you could give us a quick 30 seconds of what you know there, sir. You just got on scene in the last few minutes.
Okay, James, what I can tell you is that we were on our way up here to this Meijer Distribution Center after we heard reports of damage, and we heard them asking a number of the crews to come to the northwest side of the building, which you actually just mentioned a moment ago, and because that is where they found the most damage. And at first they had thought that the building was okay until they first got crews over on this side and then realized that this northwest corner not only has damage to the roof, but obviously completely to the side of the building. A lot of the wall here actually caved inwards, so clearly the storm was coming across and going towards 75, and the wind blew that wall in to the building. As you see, the firefighters are now putting a ladder truck up. Not sure if they are going to try to have someone climb up and take a look at the top. We also heard a report as we were driving up here that they wanted to check out some hissing in the northwest section of the building. It has not been confirmed what that was or if in fact it was anything to be concerned about or not, but it's something that crews are checking out. Now, this side of the building is an employee parking lot, which may not always be full, but right now, because of what has happened, a number of people were pulling in to this lot just to look at the damage. But of course, that is a problem for emergency crews who are trying to get up here and do some emergency assessments with people. That truck you see there now had to actually keep honking and honking at people to get out of their way as they tried to get close to the building so that they could do their work. So they're asking anyone in the area to stay away from the Meijer Distribution Center, to pull back out if they are not supposed to be here, so that they again can keep their emergency crews focused on what they want to do, which is assessing the building. Now, on our way up here, the first crews that were arriving at the building said that they were getting reports from Meyer that there were not any injuries inside the building. However, we've not been able to confirm that with anyone at this point, so we really don't know. We can tell you that other sections of the building in which we came around, this building sits at the corner of County Road 25A and Kessler-Cowlesville Road. We're on Kessler-Cowlesville Road as we give you this picture. The other side of the building did not look damaged just to the quick eye as we drove past, and then we came down Kessler-Cowlesville Road and obviously found this.
Hey, Mike,
so we are
I'm
going
gonna have to interrupt you real quick, Mike. We've got another tornado warning that we need to get to in the western part of
I don't think Mike can hear us, but it is good news that it potentially doesn't sound like anyone's injured. It hasn't been confirmed.
Yes. Robert?
Yeah, so we've been watching those two warnings off the eastern part. We do have a new tornado warning for the northern part of Randolph County now. So it's the other side of the viewing area in Indiana. It's just kind of the extreme northern part of Randolph County. There's at least a tornado warning issued there. That's until 7:15. And so I'm going to zoom in real quick here. It's a little bit far away from the radar, so it's hard to get the best data. At this distance, you're looking at some cloud water particles, water droplets way up in the atmosphere. But the National Weather Service has indicated a potential for a tornado with this storm. So this is northern Randolph County. This includes Ridgeville and Saratoga. It's just north of Winchester, just north of Farmland. And again, that's until 7:15 p.m. And then as we've been following the storms off toward the east, where we have confirmed tornadoes that have been reported to us, we're looking at the tornado warning in Clark County, the extreme northeastern part of Clark County. So it's just starting to push out of the area. And then also if we move up to Champaign County, the extreme northeastern part of Champaign County. So we're still seeing indication of rotation with both of these storms as they push out toward the area. But yes, we do have a third tornado warning now on the other side of the viewing area, the western parts in Indiana. That's northern Randolph County, and that is until 7:15 p.m. So as we zoom in a little bit closer here, let's go back to these storms off toward the east, just as they push off out of the viewing area. As far as rotation, we're still seeing some indication of rotation here. It's not as strong as it once was, but it's definitely still popping up. So as of right now, it looks like the rotation with this storm could potentially be crossing northern Urbana-Lisbon Road. That's going to be in Clark County. Again, this is the northeastern part. This is going to be between South Vienna and, is it Catawba? Catawba. Yeah, I'm brand new here, so I apologize about that. But it looks like between those two cities, that's where we're seeing the rotation here as it pushes off toward the east. Again, moving up toward Champaign County as well. It looks like between Woodstock and North Lewisburg, that rotation is still appearing here on the radar as it's pushing off toward the northeast too. So again, these are the extreme northeastern parts of Clark County as well as Champaign County, and continuing to push off toward the east. Now again, let's go back to the storm here in northern Randolph County. where there is a tornado warning until 7:15. So that one is for 7:15. The ones toward the east also, we're looking at 7:15 for Champaign County, 7:15 for Clark County. So it's just a little bit over 15 minutes here as these tornado warnings continue off toward the area. Beyond that, we're looking at rain otherwise across the region. And I haven't seen reports of hail. It's mainly just been these, okay, so this is a new one that's just popped up. So, okay, so new tornado warning now popping up. This is for the southeastern part of Clinton County. So I'm going to bring up the velocity imagery here again. This is what tells us if there's rotation. The whole point of a Doppler radar is the Doppler effect can tell you really which way these particles are moving, whether it's hailstones, whether it's water droplets, rain droplets, that sort of thing. And so the green, we tell you the red and the green, when they're next to each other, the green indicates any sort of particle moving toward the radar, and the red away. And so when they're right next to each other, we can see potentially couplets. And at least the National Weather Service has indicated the potential for a tornado in the southeastern part of Clinton County. Now, this is the extreme kind of edge of our viewing area, but this is southeast of Wilmington. Does not include Wilmington, but it's getting closer toward New Vienna. Does not include Sabina either. It's just to the south of Sabina. And it looks like this storm is moving more or less toward the east. Might be a little bit of a northerly component to it, or even maybe even a southeasterly component actually to it as it moves to the area. But so as of right now, I'm going to zoom out real quick here and show you we are still looking at 4 tornado warnings across the region. We've been watching the 2, one in northeastern Champaign County, one in northeastern Clark County. We have this brand new one in southeastern Clinton County, and then we have the relatively new one as well in northern Randolph County. So it looks like all of these warnings will continue until 7:15 p.m., all 4 of them. So it's easy to remember for anybody watching in these areas. We've got the 3 to the east, the 1 to the west. They all last for about 15 minutes and 30 seconds.
All right. Control room, is Mike still standing by? Again, we see that fire truck and the ladder obviously extended.
Firefighter climbing up that ladder.
Yeah. Mike, go ahead, sir.
Okay, so I had just gotten a report from our Steve Baker, and he relayed a message to me from the Tipp City police chief, which actually is asking people to stay off the streets in Tipp City and to stay away from this facility, the Meijer Distribution Center here at the corner of County Road 25A and Kesslersville Road. The reason for that is because people are coming in here just as bystanders and trying to get pictures, and they're asking you to stop doing that. He said you can get your pictures later with the Tipp City police chief asking people to stay off the streets of Tipp City and to stay away from the Meijer Distribution Center because you are getting in the way of an emergency operation. Now, beyond that, I do not have any update in terms of what they're trying to do, but you obviously saw the firefighter that's clear up there at the top of the ladder truck just doing some assessment of roof damage and just damage to the building here.
Hey, Mike, I've gotten a couple messages from viewers. One woman, 2 of her daughters work in this facility. They were not here today, but claim that there are a lot of...
The Tipp City police chief asking people to stay off the streets of Tipp City and to stay away from the Meijer Distribution Center because you are getting in the way of an emergency operation. Now, beyond that, I do not have any update in terms of what they're trying to do, but you obviously saw the firefighter that's clear up there at the top of the ladder truck just doing some assessment of roof damage and just damage to the building here.
Hey, Mike, I've gotten a couple messages from viewers. One woman, 2 of her daughters work in this facility. They were not here today, but claim that there are a lot of employees here. Another one of our viewers said that this is the side of the facility where they deal with groceries and food, offloading trucks and that portion of the facility. And so I saw your photographer. He showed some other emergency vehicles to, I guess, the right of this mess. Have you seen any medics? Have you seen medics leaving that area? Because again, from one of our viewers telling us that there were probably a lot of employees in there at this time of the hour.
I want to talk to you. We have not seen any medics leaving from our location. In fact, we only have seen one come into the parking lot on this side of the building. That doesn't mean there wouldn't be some medics on the other side of the building. This is a very, very large facility, as you know. But where we are, just within the past a couple minutes, is the first medic we've seen pull into the parking lot. We don't know, what the reason behind that is, but before that, over the last 10 minutes, there have been no medics in this section of the building where we can see.
Hey, Mike, I'm going to let you, we're having a little difficulty. I'm not sure which microphone is your major source, but if you might be able to check that, and Cheryl and I will talk over this video momentarily. And again, look at the top of that, just sheared away. It looks like, you know, the top
so
of a
that
can.
had to be, I mean, I guess there's no way to say how strong of a tornado has gone through there, but definitely a tornado that did some damage there. We've had reports of damage in other counties in the area, to a lot of trees down in other counties. Darke County, I was looking at we had a report of down barns and damages in Darke County, Schnorf Jones Road. Earlier we said State Route 49 at Red River West Grove Road in Darke County. We had down trees in Clark County. And I know Robert and McCall are still looking at some of those tornado warnings, both in Champaign and Logan County.
Yeah, I
and
had,
within Randolph County. Go ahead, McCall.
No, meteorologist Austin Cheney is out in the Springfield area, so I'm going to send him to a possible location where maybe he can see if there's any damage. And hopefully we're going to get some info from him. The good news is it looks as though on radar, Robert, that those storms are starting to pull out of Clark and Champaign County, but we may have a new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued for our northern communities up near Piqua and Sydney for that thunderstorm that did have and still does have that tornado warning off in Randolph County, but now it looks as though they're just going to warn on that whole line as it begins to move in.
Yeah, in anticipation of that storm, which was warned with a tornado warning and still is, it's going to be pushing across northern parts of Darke County, and also looks like in Miami County and Shelby County. As it's likely, even if they don't anticipate rotation with it, once it gets to those places, they're still anticipating some strong winds. And what I mean by strong is at least 60 miles per hour or above that. And so we're going to have to still watch that storm as it makes its way through. As McCall mentioned earlier, too, the two storms in kind of the extreme northeastern parts of Champaign and Clark County now. It looks like, in fact, the one in Champaign County is pretty much out of Champaign County at the moment, and you really have to zoom in close for this one in Clark County. So it looks like the threats within at least Clinton County and Champaign County are really minimal at this point. Now, also down toward the southwest, south of those storms, the National Weather Service has indicated a little while ago some strong rotational loft just west of New Vienna. There's some indications that the rotation was lowering, and that was about 5 minutes ago. So they're going to be watching that storm, but that's also exiting our viewing area just to the southeast of Wilmington. Doesn't include Wilmington. It's in southeastern Clinton County, and that's also exiting the area. So as these tornadoes get out of the Miami Valley, out of our area, we're focused back toward the northwest, if you will, closer toward northern Randolph County, and that new severe thunderstorm warning issued for parts of areas that have already seen a lot of damage and really intense weather here in the last couple hours. And so I'm going to zoom back into these areas. So we're looking at northern Randolph County where that tornado warning is, and that is issued until at least 7:15, but you can see extending just beyond that are the severe thunderstorm warnings for northern Darke County as well as Shelby County, and then northern Miami County, which just kind of scrapes right by Troy, but it does include Sidney, it does include Piqua and Versailles as well. So this is northern Darke County, Shelby County, and northern Miami County that once this tornado warned storm will move into Ohio and will likely be under just this severe thunderstorm warning until about, let's see, that's until 7:45.
Looks as though, according to the Weather Service, the circulation in Clark County is weakening and likely going to let that tornado warning expire. So that is some good news with that storm. And we did see indications of that tornado warning, and that cell itself was starting to spread out a little bit. But there is still a little bit of some rotation in that Champaign County storm. So the tornado warning there, according to the Weather Service, they're just going to go ahead and let that continue, and that goes until 7:15. So there's just about 10 more minutes left on that warning. But again, we do have that severe warning off to our north and west. That's up near Piqua and near Sidney and Versailles. These same areas were just to the north of where that tornado warning was just a short time ago. It doesn't look like there's much in the way of rotation with that storm. It's turning to be a little bit more linear based on what we can tell.
And this warning right here, the polygon, so if you're near Fort Recovery down to Ansonia, Versailles, Gettysburg, you're in a severe thunderstorm warning. And this thunderstorm warning goes until 7:15. It does stretch all the way out toward Anna, Sidney, and Piqua, up and down 75. It looks to be more of a straight line potential, damaging wind gust potential, while not necessarily a tornado threat at this point, or at least it doesn't appear to be that. Winds that could be in excess of 60 miles per hour can create damage. So if you live in northern Darke County, near the Randolph County line and southern Mercer County out near Fort Recovery, this storm is starting to move in. Right now it's just west of 127. If you're further to the east, there's still a little bit of some time for this thunderstorm to weaken before it gets there, or on the other hand, intensify. So just stay aware if you're in Fort Loramie, Versailles, Gettysburg, and Covington. Stay with us here on Channel 7. We will be tracking this storm as it moves to the east. If we see it increasing in its intensity, we will of course let you know. And of course, if it starts to rotate and we need a tornado warning with it, then we will also be sure to give you an update on that as well. Robert, I hear that alarm over there every time the Weather Service says the word tornado. It makes me curious as to what they're talking about.
So there is this one. There is one new one issued, but just outside the viewing area. It's the one we were following in Champaign County.
Okay.
And it looks like yes, there's still rotation associated with it. It's closer toward Marysville, but as far, yep, and there it is issued on the map there. So it looks like the threat is completely out of Champaign County at this point, as well as Clark County. So if you're still in shelter in these counties, we're giving you the all clear.
Yeah, all clear for anyone that's in the tornado warnings in Champaign or Clark County.
I mean, Marysville, that's where the Honda plant is, and there are numerous people that live here and work there.
And work that way. Okay,
Right.
so
Yeah.
let's go ahead and we'll just continue to track that storm, at least as it's moving through Marysville. Yes, it is just outside of our viewing area, but the Weather Service has gone ahead and extended a warning for this storm that is now moving through Marysville. So again, if you know someone that lives or works up in Marysville, give them a call right now. Tell them that they need to be in their safe place, that this storm has the possibility of producing a tornado. I haven't seen any indications of debris from this storm that came out of Champaign County, but we have seen indications of the storm to its south creating debris. Not sure if right there near Milford is an indication that maybe there was some debris lofted earlier, but there has been a history of these storms moving to the east producing a tornado. Obviously, we've seen several images. We had the damage at the Meyer facility, so this is not a type of scenario where you can just say, okay, it's McCall's on TV telling me there's a tornado warning, but there's really no threat. There is that threat out there right now. Marysville up into, what is that? Magnetic Springs, sorry. And then further to the east near Scioto. This storm is moving to the east at about 35 miles per hour. All of these storms anywhere between 30 to 35 miles per hour. They're creating some heavy rain and some flooding as well. So on the north side, especially from Magnetic Springs down toward Ostrander, you may not see if this tornado is moving in. It'll be blinding rain, and then all of a sudden this funnel cloud is going to form, and then a tornado develops. Moving to the east, this warning goes until 7:30 tonight. Right now it is 7:09, so we still have about 20 minutes left on this warning. Further back to the west, Milford Center, you are in the clear. North Lewisburg's in the clear. Woodstock, you're in the clear. While that warning still is ongoing for you, it goes until 7:15. The storm and the threat is out of your area, as well as this tornado warning in northern Clark County. That storm has pulled away. It is now moving to the east. It's out near West Jeffersonville and Hilliard, out toward Dublin. You are going to be watching a strong thunderstorm moving in that earlier did have a rotating storm and a tornado associated with it. Get back up to Marysville here. Tornado warning goes until 7:30 this evening. This storm is going to be moving to the east toward Ostrander and out toward Scioto, and then eventually toward Delaware with that warning going until 7:30. Let's head back to the west, Robert. I want to show that severe thunderstorm warning that we have in effect. And this severe thunderstorm warning includes Sidney, Piqua, Fletcher, up toward Versailles, Ansonia. The severe thunderstorm warning is associated with this line of storms that's moving from
cold water back into Union City, into northern parts of Randolph County near Winchester. Very heavy rain. The main concern with this storm is going to be straight line damaging wind gusts. Winds that could be in excess of 60 miles per hour, and will continue to move to the east as this warning will go until 7:45. Right now we're coming up at 7:11. We're almost at 7:15, so we still have about 30 more minutes left on this warning, and this is a very slow moving storm. I'm not sure if you guys have any updates on damage or what's happening out there.
Is it a good time to go to Molly Kowick? She's
Yes,
been
I'd
in
say.
Phillipsburg in northwestern Montgomery County. Molly, I know your shot could go down. It's been kind of iffy, but go ahead and tell us what you got there.
Yeah, Cheryl and James, we were driving around Darke County trying to find where some storm damage was. And all of a sudden, as we came down the road here on 49, my photographer said, oh, right there. And this is what we're seeing. Take a look at the roof of this barn right now. This roof, I just talked to the homeowner. Apparently, they just put it in the fall. And as we come down a little bit, look at this massive, massive tree that the storm took out. To give you a little bit of perspective, I'm about 5. The roots of this tree extended out farther than I am tall. So this was a big tree, this was a sturdy tree, but it was no match for this storm. Now, right now, the lawn is clear, but that's only a new development in just the last 20 minutes or so because a tow truck just came by. I believe we have some video to show you of a car that was driving down this road and just flipped right onto its top. Now, he watched the storm come through. He watched what looked to be a tornado come through this area, and then he was getting video of this, which we'll show you as soon as we can get it into our system. But he said that he stopped recording as soon as he started watching this car flip because he works for the fire department. He said, I know that I need to help this guy. Apparently, they were able to get him out. He really was not hurt, and he went home. Then they took the car away, but I want to give you a little bit of that interview because it's just pretty remarkable that he was able to walk away from this once you see that video.
Well, I saw it flip end over probably 4 to 6 times. I expected the driver to be injured, and remarkably, he wasn't. He was seat belted in, airbags went off, and he had just minor contusions.
So not only was the driver not hurt, but also nobody was home when this storm hit the barn. I was talking to the homeowner just a little while ago. It hit the barn, it hit another barn in back of here. She said that they raise pigs. All of the pigs are fine. No one was home when this happened. So all of the humans are fine as well. Just some damage to the barns. And then obviously this tree. I want to give you guys another look at this. Look at how deep down inside this goes. These were some really, really serious, really sturdy tree roots that this storm just took out.
I think, Molly, if you can hear me, what's even more impressive is how it snapped that tree on the other side of you. I mean, it snapped it right at the base of the trunk of that tree.
Yeah, let's behind that tree.
Yeah. Exactly. So let's take a look right around here and look at this one.
Wow.
There's another one right here. I mean, that the trunk of this tree has to be, I don't know, 6 feet or so in diameter if we were to wrap it all the way around. Mm-hmm. Nope, no issue. The storm just took it right out.
And you're on 49.
It's crazy. And so I was talking with the sheriff.
I was just going to say, are you in Miami County or North?
Oh, go ahead, Gerald.
Montgomery County. I'm trying to just determine exactly where you are.
So the homeowner says that we are in Laura. She said that is the absolute last home in Darke County. So we're right on the edge there in Darke County. I was talking to the sheriff. He said that there's about a mile-long path of damage in the area, but he said it primarily goes through empty fields, but there are some other barns that have some damage as well, though he said that he's heard no reports of a single person getting hurt right now.
And back to that truck, when we heard 4 to 6 times, Cheryl and I looked at each other. I had to ask her to make sure I heard that correctly. And that's exactly why you don't want to be in a car when
we always tell people get off the road if there's a tornado coming your way. And that truck, the person who was driving that's very lucky, Molly, to have gotten out relatively unscathed. You said he went home, but to flip over 4 to 6 times, that's incredible.
And for him to walk,
it's crazy. And the man that I was interviewing said right before that a semi drove by. So the storm missed the semi, but imagine how much worse this could have been if it had flipped a semi.
Goodness.
Yeah. Well, thankfully that driver is home tonight
Yeah,
with his family.
I'm sure shaken up.
Quite a story to tell,
Yeah.
one that he will never forget, as well as
And
the
the person
firefighter
who
helped
witnessed
him.
it too, yes,
Yeah.
of course.
All right, Molly
Thank you,
Cohick,
Molly.
live tonight in Dark County for us.
What else we got, Robert?
We're still just left with this, aside that tornado warning that was near Marysville and out toward the east, the only one left in our viewing area is this severe thunderstorm warning. We have, at this moment, no tornado warnings across the area. We're just dealing with this kind of linear storm system you can see moving through northern Dark County. It will eventually make its way into Shelby County and northern Miami County. This severe thunderstorm warning lasts until 7:45, so just under 30 minutes. And this one seems to be moving, just eyeballing it. It looks like it's moving a little bit slower than the other storms. However, it's pushing through. You'll see some heavy rain with this across areas that already saw a lot of rain and damage as we've been covering throughout the evening. But the main threat with this is going to be some straight line winds. So winds of 60 miles per hour or above are possible with this storm as it pushes through. This is the only warning of any type across our area. No other severe thunderstorm warnings, no other tornado warnings, thankfully. Just this severe thunderstorm warning for northern Dark County, Shelby County, as well as northern Miami County, and that's until 7:45. So this is the only thing we're looking at the moment.
But what an afternoon it's been. We've had several tornado warnings in our viewing area since in the last 2-3 hours now. And they've just rolled on through, especially north of the Dayton area. Preble, Dark, Miami, into Clark and Champaign and Logan. And it's been scary for people.
And just to see the number of videos that folks have sent us, where a tornado's on the ground, where we catch it for 8 seconds or 10 seconds and then it's gone. And then, maybe a mile up the road, then if that's the same cell, then it touches down again. So it'll be very interesting to hear when it's all said and done, the National Weather Service, how many confirmed tornadoes they're able to identify over the last few hours.
And that's the thing, you don't know what category a tornado is in. It's not like a hurricane where you know beforehand. You have to go the next day. The National Weather Service has to go and investigate and look at the damage. And so based on the damage we've seen so far, I imagine these are some pretty intense tornadoes that move through the Miami Valley.
So far, the most impressive damage is that Meyer Distribution Center in Miami County.
Guys, do I see Sky 7 up? I see one of our monitors here showing the Meyer. If we might be able to take that source. Control room, if anybody can hear us. Okay, there you go. So as we fly Sky 7 over this portion of the building, the northwest side. If you're just joining us, just getting home tonight, folks, this is the Meijer Distribution Center, which is just on the west side of 75 in the Tipp City area. This afternoon, a tornado hit. Numerous reports of people inside. We're still trying to better understand, Cheryl, how many people were there. And again, this is a
It's a huge facility. A lot
compare
of people work there.
You're looking at semi-trailers on screen left. So that's a trailer for an 18-wheeler, and it gives you a perspective of how big this building is. But it hit this side of the building.
Northwest side, and lots of damage. And we have no reports of injuries. Mike Campbell did say earlier that he'd heard there were no injuries, but we don't have that confirmed.
Yeah.
So he is staying on scene. He's there with Chuck Hamlin, and they're going to find out if anybody was hurt when this massive facility got hit by a tornado this afternoon.
I think, when we first saw the first images, you have cars parked in the parking lot, meaning people are in there. One of our viewers had sent me a text saying her daughters work there. They were not working there today, but there are a lot of people who work inside this facility. It was late afternoon. And we're also told this side of the facility where a lot of the groceries and the food portion of Meyer's Distribution Center is. And we were noticing, you can't see it in this picture, but kind of in the lower left here, when you and I looked at that steel beam. I mean, folks, the steel,
just peeled.
It looked like, the best way I can describe it is like a twisty tie on a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
That's the way it looked on this massive beam that was basically just
And is that
folded in
that's
half.
What you're referring to right now?
Right below that yellow portion, which I would believe to be insulation.
Yeah.
But that's when you see things like that, and you see the sheer power, but then you look at the debris. It looks as though there's debris that's on the other side of that roof. It's hard to say. Maybe I'm misspeaking, but I'm looking at a different monitor. But nevertheless, you see the way it just pulled apart and peeled back that roof here at the Meyer.
Just brought down that wall all along that side of that distribution center.
According to Gary, he's one of our Skywarn operators, he said that the debris was traveled and carried at least 300 feet beyond the facility. So based on the destruction there and based on radar, this is likely a tornado that occurred based on the video footage that we have. But of course, as Robert mentioned not too long ago, the Weather Service will have to go out and assess this damage. Likely will confirm this as a tornado, but then they're going to talk about the structure of that building and that facility in order to give a rating as to how strong it was once it hit that facility
So
itself.
it's possible it wasn't even a tornado. It could be something like straight line winds or some type of tornado.
Yeah, it could either be, it's most likely going to be a tornado, but it could possibly be some downdraft straight line winds as well. So they're going to look at how the debris is laid out in and around that area. So it's interesting what it is that they do in order to assess whether a tornado occurred or not. But based on the radar that we saw here and the video footage, it's probably going to be confirmed as a tornado occurring there.
And to give folks perspective, I'm fascinated by architecture. Even I don't care what it is, whether it's a house, whether it's a factory building like this. So what you're seeing there is you're seeing sections of concrete. And so what they do is then they build those and they bring them together. So you're looking at what I believe to be sections of concrete walls that were just knocked over.
Went down.
Yeah, and so while you talk about straight line winds, I mean that is a big building, and if you have a massive area of a straight line wind, conceivably that could be the case. But then you also look at how it peeled away that metal on that roof.
So tornadoes they'll pick up and carry away. They'll peel away things.
And
where
even
straight
look,
line winds
McCall,
will push down and pull and push away.
Even look at on the other side of that roof. It looks like
Yeah.
there's debris sitting on the other side of that
Yeah.
facility on the roof.
Which is why I believe that this was, in fact, a tornado that occurred there, based on all of the other indications that we've had, video, radar, and what we can see from this vantage point with Sky 7. I almost wish that Sky 7 would fly past so we could see what was on the other side, but I don't
I
know
think
if that's possible.
Are we at a static shot there?
From what I understand, because of aviation regulations, our pilot is not able to maybe move much more than where he is. I know we were being told earlier that
It's near an airport.
Yeah, it's probably near the airport,
Yeah.
so yeah, you can't necessarily.
So we have to be obviously very cognizant of that, and obviously the elevation in which it can fly. But there you are, folks. Guys, our first tornado warning. I usually try to keep notes as to when, but they were coming so fast.
It occurred right at about 5:45 because we were about to go into weather. And I got that
Right.
message
Got the phone call.
from our coworker, and
So
minutes
about
later.
90 minutes worth of tornado warnings, and we had them in several places in the area, that mainly north, that
Yes.
big one, and then there was one south, or we had them to the east.
Yes.
Even the latest one in Randolph County, Indiana.
Correct, and we do have in the lower left-hand corner of your screen there, you can't really see it unless you
Almost
look
3,000.
closely. So almost 3,000 without power there in Clark County, more than 600 in Butler County. And we do know that tornado warning and that tornado possibility did go through a highly populated area in northern Clark County, so I'll be interested to see what comes of that. We do know that intense damage there at the Meyer, but we have yet to hear much, I think, from northern Clark County.
Right.
So if you're listening or watching in that area, feel free to just send us a message as to what you might be seeing in northern Clark County. That way we can give people a heads up, whether or not they should be traveling in that area, and get that information across to our viewers and our listeners. As we know that storm system went right over US 68 out near Buck Creek State Park, where a lot of people live and work.
So I can tell you. So somebody just sent me a video, what I believe to be from the Meyer, and they're sitting across the street, and I can see debris in the air. I can see circulation, and then it just watch this, Cheryl, here, the lower portion here, and then you can see where it hits, and then that's part of the roof. Wow. I mean, we can see it on the phone here pretty well. I can try, Stuart, if you want to zoom in real quick. I can show you here. Let me get my old man glasses on so I can see what I'm doing.
I've got mine on too.
So here we are. You need to watch right around here. See that poof of material, right there. You can see debris flying around, and then you see that what looks like a bunch of ash, whatever it is. That's building material right there in the middle. Watch that. See that? And so again, that's the Meyer facility.
When it gets hit.
Yes, and you can see the debris flying around. Kind of in a rotation. See it up there up in the top portion.
Right.
And then there's that. There that is.
And we were talking about Clark County a minute ago, McCall, and Cindy has sent me a message saying we have damage on East Home Road in Springfield. Trees down on a house.
East Home Road?
East Home.
Okay. Let me ask you, Josh. Josh said that Sky 7 just landed. Is Mike? Is he at a place where we can check back in live with him and talk with him, or are we still trying to? Okay. Okay, Mike's there because they landed Sky 7. Our crew on scene is going to work to get contact with Mike Campbell again. I'm looking. So we have Storm Tracker. Storm Tracker looks as though it's on. I don't know. It's headed north or it's headed east. I help us out, guys, in the control room. Brandon Lewis is in that vehicle. Again, numerous reports of damage. I want to thank everyone who has over the last couple hours. Been phenomenal in keeping us up to date, our eyes and ears.
It shows the concern that our viewers have for everyone else and for everybody else, right? Because they want people to know that this is coming, this is what we have here, and it's great. It's great that you guys are keeping everybody abreast of what's going on. McCall, you and Robert, and then the viewers who are pitching in and saying this is the damage that we're seeing. It's terrific.
Well, thank you for that. And we, this is our job. We want to make sure that the viewers are safe. I really appreciate it's kind of it's helpful when we have our viewers sending us this information because they're a big part of that process. When they let us know, like, this is happening here, of course, we don't want them to put themselves in any danger, but if you see something and you let us know, then we can tell somebody else and give them time to get to their safe place. And I really do think tonight it helped with getting that advanced message from Ashley saying, I saw it and I'm sending you pictures and video. Even though the warning came out right away, it was confirmation. And it makes it real for you, the viewer, when you see those videos and those images right away. It can make it a tangible thing for you to grasp onto and know, hey, this is different from any other day and any other tornado warning. Not that you should take tornado warnings lightly, but oftentimes when we say it's radar indicated, there's just this illusion that maybe it's not really happening until you can see it visually.
And we were definitely seeing it almost from the time that we heard about a tornado warning. We were getting confirmation through video from someone that we trust.
Yes.
Who we know that she was legit and she was saying, this is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that, as I appreciate all the other viewers that have sent us in video and footage tonight.
This is video from the Laura area. Sent in from one of our News Center 7 viewers of a funnel cloud that we saw there briefly, and as people, and I will tell you this, McCall was talking about this very real potential for tornadoes yesterday, during our 5 o'clock hour, again last night at 11 o'clock, and in this day and age, we want to give as much warning as humanly possible to let folks know and be aware that, hey, we got to watch out. And as Cheryl and I were talking earlier, it was a good mixture. It's a good bad mixture of what we saw today. This is a picture somebody just sent me. This is on the other side of the Meijer Distribution Center, and there you see the tornado.
I'm just going to tell our producers right now, I don't know if you can see Austin Cheney on live view, but he is in Clark County, and he says that I'll tell him to go ahead and try and come up if he can, but he says he's in Clark County and there is lots of tree damage where he is. So we'll see if we can get him up and get some visuals from Clark County, as he may be the only person that we have out that way at this point in time.
And somebody's telling me they're in Greenville and their friends in Union City say the sirens are going off. Would that be the tornado warning that was in Randolph County, in that part of the area?
Yes. At this point, that storm has already pulled to the east.
Okay.
You are in the clear if you're in Union City. There is
funnels dropped from the sky, turned into tornadoes, and most everything in its path did not have a chance.
Well, I saw it flip end over probably 4 to 6 times.
Twisters moved across farm fields, treated trees like they were toothpicks.
That's a tornado. It's on the ground.
Loyal WHIO viewers showed us in real time what they were seeing and what they were going through.
It's coming straight at us.
In Tipp City along I-75, a tornado zeroed in on this massive Meijer Distribution Center.
Oh my God!
One side of it not able to withstand the twister's punch. Workers were inside, and this is what one person captured moments after the roof opened up to the sky. Just south of Troy, a viewer captured about 10 seconds of this tornado, and then it was gone. In Clark County, this decades-old tree is now nothing more than firewood.
You couldn't hear anything else. I mean, it was just all that.
And back where this all started in Dark County, people were grateful, but realized just how fast things got out of control.
Nobody got hurt, and that we need to pay attention to the weather.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm James Brown.
I'm Cheryl McHenry. For about 2 hours late this afternoon and early evening, those storms tore through our viewing area and left all sorts of damage in their wake. You can see here just some of the reports of damage that the National Weather Service has gotten so far.
And that is why we have big Team 7 weather coverage for you tonight. Our reporters are spread across the Miami Valley, showing you the damage and sharing what people went through. And our team of meteorologists also here tracking the path of these twisters.
First, we want to get with News Center 7's Mike Campbell, live in Tipp City, where a tornado tore into a massive Meijer Distribution Center.
Yeah, Mike, you talked with people in the city, and you also have new video of the tornado for us.
Absolutely, James. Now, the power is out at that Meyer Distribution Center at this hour, as it is in a couple of neighborhoods that are around that. Now, in fact, the neighborhood I'm standing in, you can see this debris that was knocked off a roof of a home right nearby. And across the street, you can see the power crews that are still working to try to restore the electricity. Now, this storm hit at about 6 this evening. Most people had headed out to work already, but at the Meijer Distribution Center, that wasn't the case because they worked 3 shifts a day, all day, every day there. There was no doubt this was a severe weather emergency. Dozens of emergency crews headed to a Meyer grocery distribution center with huge concerns about the safety of hundreds of workers inside. This view from Sky 7 shows even more damage to the roof and the entire north and west portions of the facility. Those crews and Meyer safety crews accounted for everyone. Miraculously, no one hurt.
I understand that the west end of the building was more storage, so the production was on the east side.
It's even more amazing when you look at the funnel cloud bearing down on the building as captured by this dash cam video from a Tipp City police cruiser. Chilling pictures of a dangerous twister.
Couldn't believe it. I said, that's close.
Marilyn Johnson lives right across the street. She heard warnings and headed to the basement, not aware of just how bad it was.
I did not hear a sound. I didn't hear like a freight train or anything.
Shotzi and I made a bolt down to the basement and got back in the mechanical room, and then the crashing started and the pressure.
Tom Bennett definitely heard the storm in his neighborhood 2 blocks west of the distribution center. And another resident of that same Cedar Grove neighborhood captured the tornado bearing down on the homes here, then shared it with us. Only 3 homes took direct hits. Bennett kept his wife informed from the basement.
Texted her that there's a tornado in Tipp, and then I either texted her or called her. It's here.
It was here. Then it headed to the Meyer building, then onto a business park and tore the roofs off 3 buildings there. Repairs began even as Tipp City residents also spotted rainbows over the town. Leaders expressed a sigh of relief for no early reports of injuries.
Yeah, the business owners are going to struggle a little bit to get back up and running, but yeah, that's a huge blessing.
And back live now, again, looking at the debris that the incredible power of this storm took a roof right off a home. Now, this northern section of Tipp City, again, has been without power ever since the storm hit. Those power crews working, hoping that they can restore power to pretty much everyone in the overnight hours. Of course, they will continue to have to repair and rebuild in the days and weeks ahead. Reporting live in Tipp City, Mike Campbell, News Center 7.
Yep, that's a tornado. It's on the ground.
Check out this twister tear through farmland in the western part of our viewing area. A viewer sent us this video from Darke County. And a new Sky 7 video for you tonight shows the damage to this barn. Part of the roof peeled away and a large hole left there in the corner. It also flipped a man's car multiple times.
And tonight he's sharing what happened and why he's thankful for his wife, who wasn't even with him. News Center 7's Molly Koick joins us live from the village of Pittsburgh in Darke County. Molly, quite a bit of damage shows the power of this storm.
Yeah, James and Cheryl, take a look at what the storm did to these trees. Look at this one, probably 6-8 feet in diameter. Yeah, snapped it just like a twig. And if we come over here and take a look at this one, look, the roots, they were pretty far-reaching roots, okay? I'm 5'7". This tree, when it's flipped up, taller than me, and they went pretty far in the ground, too. If we hop into the pit, the pit comes up to the over my knees right now, showing that this tree was a strong tree. It had been here for a while, but it was no match for these storms. And if this is what it can do to the tree, just think about what it could do to a car. Kevin Schaller was close, but not as close as Ronald Kelly.
Saw a tornado forming, and I thought, well, I can get by it. That was a error in judgment, and I did not get by it, and it got a hold of it.
He's in from out of town and was driving on State Route 49 in Pittsburgh when this crossed his path, or more like he crossed the storm's path.
I didn't think about my wife telling me constantly to wear a seatbelt. That occurred later. But good advice. And I was just thinking, you know, hang on.
It didn't seem that powerful until you seen it hit something, and then it was like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have been so close. I saw it flip end over probably 4 to 6 times.
Schaller helped get Kelly out of the car. He walked away with just a cut on his head, and he's not even in any pain.
The Lord might have had something to do with that, I would suspect, since I tried to call my wife to tell her, and she's in church.
Just grateful it wasn't worse. James and Cheryl, remarkably, Kelly was so positive about this entire experience and just really had good spirits. He says, yeah, he already has arrangements to get a rental car to get him back to South Carolina.
Divine intervention there is what he was talking about, Molly.
I'm telling you what that man went through.
Yeah.
And he still has a smile. He has a sense of humor about it. And credited the good Lord and his wife.
Yes, like I said, it was that divine intervention that he called on there, but you're right, he's got a great attitude, and you know he's feeling tremendous relief tonight that he is okay.
I want to bring in Chief Meteorologist McCall Vrydaghs.
She is here to walk us through the conditions that set up these storms. McCall?
Well, earlier today, I was watching the ingredients and the weather pattern leading up to this afternoon, and I knew early on that this was going to be a day where the possibility of not only damaging winds and storms were going to come in, but an isolated tornado could develop. So here is what happened today. The setup is we had a warm front that was moving in, and that was creating some problems for us. We did see that threat for tornadoes developing because there was a warm front that was off to our west. That warm front started to move northward as a low pressure system was moving that direction, and that warm front was continuing to lift north, and that was supplying the heat and the humidity for us. That strong southerly flow, along with some winds at the mid levels of the atmosphere, started to create what we call wind shear. So we had winds not only changing with speed and direction, but it was changing as it was moving up high into the sky, and so that was going to be an issue for us overall. And that can create this rotating column of air. And if there is something that can help to create lift in the atmosphere, like a cold front in an area of low pressure, we can get enough of that rotation that it does create the potential of a tornado. So I want to bring in meteorologist Robert Gautreaux now to talk about what actually happened with those storms developing and evolving through the day today. Robert?
Well, we're in the middle of the newscast. We saw showers and thunderstorms across the region, but it was right around 5:30 where we saw the first warning across the area. That was a severe thunderstorm warning. So let's take a look at the recap, exactly what happened throughout the afternoon and throughout the evening. Starting off at 5:30, that's when we had the first warning, and then we had warnings continuing until about 7:45 p.m. Overall, we saw 3 thunderstorms, 3 severe thunderstorm warnings from the National Weather Service across our viewing area. They issued more outside the viewing area. As far as our viewing area and tornado warnings, we had 6 tornado warnings across the viewing area. As far as how many actually confirmed tornadoes we had, we'll have to wait until tomorrow when the National Weather Service does their surveys. Now, we also had several local storm reports. This line likely as a result of the same storm. You'll notice too, right near Tipp City, that little red icon indicating a tornado. They at least know a tornado may impact, but as far as how strong it was, we'll have to see tomorrow. Here's a look at 5 o'clock. You can see lots of strong storms across the region, but no severe weather yet. As we zoom into Tipp City, that's when we can see the actual area that saw damage. Now, I'll be able to point out here the distribution center zooming into Tipp City. If you look here, this is West Main Street here, and there's the Taco Bell, the Menards right here, this big area. That's where we had the distribution center. Here's a look at the radar at that time. As far as circulation, you see the red against the green. That indicates rotation. So right around 6:05 is where we saw that rotating storm. Now, the threat for severe weather is over for us, but we have some cooler temperatures on the way. We'll talk about that coming up in the full forecast.
And it just spiraled and spiraled. And trees and stuff started flying by the windows.
Tonight, people have so much to share about what they went through, what they heard, what they saw when this nasty weather rolled through their communities.
This was not a spiral. This was not a twister vertical. It was just a ball of fury.
How homeowners described the storm to our reporters, and we show you the damage up close.
I want the Storm Center 7 team to be the place that people turn to when they want to know anything about weather. We all know weather changes from hour to hour. There's that running joke, if you live in Ohio, wait 24 hours, the weather's going to change. If you have plans today, tomorrow, or the next day, you're already thinking about what the weather is going to be like. The kids need to be ready. I want to make sure that the team is providing that information, no matter when people are tuning in to watch our forecast.